Welcome back to the Beyond Limits podcast. I'm excited because today I'm talking to you about how I'm collapsing time faster than ever this year. So I also have a video on the fastest way to collapse time slash podcast episode, and we will link that also down below. But I want to talk to you about really what I'm leaning into and what I am noticing right now is giving the biggest, most massive shifts for me and how you're also going to be using this to do the same thing. Now, the first thing I want to talk about, and I had done this thing for probably a couple of years now, but I am doing it on an even greater level. And that is, I am challenging the illusion around me, right? We are in a simulation, we are in a game. Every single thing around you is an illusion. This desk is an illusion, the laptop's an illusion, the trees outside, they're all an illusion. But what happens is when we are not consciously aware of the fact that everything is an illusion, you end up agreeing to it. You end up thinking that that's just the way it is. You end up thinking that's just the way things work. And they only work that way because you have agreed to it, because you believe that to be true, and so it is there, right? The desk is only here because I have an agreement that the desk is here. If I withdraw my agreement from it, the desk disappears. That is how reality works. And so I'm leaning even more into this by really challenging everything I see and allowing myself to come back deeper into my power of who I am to create my reality and challenge it. And the thing is, right, the illusion is built to be very convincing. And this is where most people get stuck, right? They're like, but Liv, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what reality is showing me. But I don't take any of that to mean anything. And I sure as hell don't take that to mean that something is bad, wrong, missing, not working, not happening, not here yet, et cetera, et cetera. But when you really trapped in the fact that, okay, this illusion is real. And I get it. It can feel real. You're like, Liv, it feels real. This is what money is like. These are what my relationship is like. This is what business is like. It feels real. It feels real. And this is a trip, right, of this simulation of the matrix, is that it's designed to make you believe viscerally that it's real. You're like, but Liv, this is what I'm seeing and smelling and tasting and touching. It is real. I can feel it. I can see it. But you actually only see like 0.3% of reality with these eyes. So when you can slow down and really challenge everything you see around you. And when I started doing this a few months ago, probably more in the beginning of 2025 than I ever have before, and especially right now, I will tell you, the world started rearranging for me in the most insane ways. Miracles become the standard. Things that are not supposed to work that way, that shouldn't happen like that. That doesn't work like that. That's not possible. Whatever, etc. All these exceptions, I became the exception to the rule. And it was so funny. Yesterday, I was talking with my trainer. She's like, hey, by the way, the app is down. So sorry if you can't access your workouts. I was like, my app is fine. Like, I can access it. And she's like, ha, 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 exception to the rule. Yes, because I firmly believe that in this illusion, I am the exception to the rule. The limitations that exist for other people don't exist for me, because the only limitations that exist are the ones that you subscribe to. So I really want you to think about your reality right now. Any limitations that you are experiencing, remember that you were only experiencing that because you agreed to them, because you said, this is real, this is valid, this is the case. When you start to challenge that illusion and you realize it is all fake, it is all an illusion, and you come back into the truth of who you are, you come back into your power and back into the center of your field, you are like, oh wow, I actually am a secret Jedi. Like the Force in Star Wars is a very real thing. But it first requires you unsubscribing from all of the illusion around you. And this is interesting because it's so often you think like unconsciously things don't work that way. You'll be able to catch where you unconsciously go into it. Oh, that's not the way the system works, or that's not the way, things are booked in, or that's not the way that, the cookie crumbles. But the way you observe the cookie crumbling changes the way the cookie crumbles. And I want you to really look at this, because you might even notice not only where you are subscribing to the illusion, but where the illusion then is contributing to fear and doubt, hesitation. right? You think of like, oh, this is how the algorithm works, so I need to behave this way. Why? Only because you believe it works that way. You believe it has to be hard? Oh, then it has to be hard. You believe the algorithm is against it? Oh, then it's against. You believe money needs to come this way? Then it needs to come this way. Really see everything as an illusion, you will be flabbergasted. But it requires you not seeing everything as real. Real. And so that is probably one of like the number one things that I have been doing and will continue to do. And that requires you actually slowing down and having presence. Right? Because when you're unconscious, when you're kind of just going about your life, reacting to everything, in the day, then you can't see that path. You can't see how it is all an illusion. You can't see that the form is just a reflection of you. Everything is literally shifting in front of you as a reflection of your frequency constantly, which means the moment you notice this, you can shift it. And actually, I have a funny story about this because I was in LA last week, and on the way back, this is a very simple example, but it seems simple, but I want you to see how rapidly like reality rearranges for you. I had several flight delays. I had a layover because of where I was flying out and where I was flying in from. There are no direct flights from one airport to the other one. So I had to have a layover. Because of the length of the layover and the delays, I wanted to be able to find a meal, like food on my layover that was like clean and healthy. It's not like gluten. There's no like seed oils. There's none of that kind of stuff. So originally, my first flight was supposed to land in Terminal B. And when I was looking at Terminal B, there were no like restaurants, places that were probably gonna have like good gluten-free, nourishing options. And yes, I had snacks with me, like grass-fed jerky and protein cereal, but snacks said differently than a meal. And it was gonna be like my whole journey called it 12 hours, right? We want a meal in. And I saw that there was nothing in B. I was like, you know what? I'll figure it out. I'm sure I can find something. And all of a sudden, when I land for my layover, I got switched from Terminal B to Terminal A. So my layover flight originally was taking off in Terminal B. Now, all of a sudden, was taking off in Terminal A. I was like, okay, no problem. Like, hop on the shuttle, go to Terminal A. Of course, in Terminal A, there's completely different restaurants. There are completely different things. So I go to my gate. I like to always like find my gate to make sure, because I didn't have that much time with layover. As soon as I get near my gate, turns out that layover flight is delayed slightly. Where before I was going to be really tight for time, I may have like basically gotten there when they were reporting, and I was, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like find food, and then I'm gonna have this another extended time. And luckily, my fiance had got sushi for me so that he would know that when I landed, I had an amazing meal, which is just a testament to how incredible he is. And I get to the gate, and it's delayed. And I was like, half an hour. I'm like, okay, great. I had time to like find food. And wouldn't you know, like 2 stalls down or 2 stores down from where my gate is in Terminal A, there's this market that serves all natural, organic, healthy food. So I had this like beautiful piece of salmon. They had this like rapalini. They had lots of things. They had like rosemary roasted chicken. They had like so many different kinds of vegetables. Everything's were labeled like gluten-free, dairy-free, all this. And I was like, of course, he like universe redirected, changed my terminal so that I would be in front of a gate so I would have enough time to have a good meal, so I wouldn't be like too hungry on the flight, so I wouldn't have to like just eat the snacks that aren't as satisfying, but like I could get away with it because I know it's inevitable, right? Because I'm not agreeing to the form of reality. I believe things get to rearrange. I believe I'm the exception to the rule. I believe things are working out. And I'm actually going to change the word believe into knowing. I know this, but there's no attachment. There's no forcing. There's no pushing. Not like, oh my God, I have to find it. I'm like, no, desire, inevitability, calls that out into the universe, and the universe rearranges for me. That sounds simple, but I can tell you countless stories of how this happens to me on a daily basis. So really lock into that, because once you start to do that, you'll notice how things can actually operate a lot smoother for you and a lot easier for you. Now, this brings me to the next thing that I'm really leaning into in order to collapse time faster than ever before. And that is claiming things in a big way, but not only claiming them, but claiming them outwardly. Because what happens a lot of time, people are like, don't claim, like you don't show them the result until it's done, do it in silence, etc. But that's not what time bends to, right? Time bends, time collapses to the woman who knows it's inevitable. And the woman who knows it's inevitable will claim it before it's done, right? Will say, this is what I'm going after. This is what I'm doing. I don't know if you want to be a best-selling author, you want to have a top-performing podcast, you want to make $1 million, you want to make $1 million in a week, you want to make $1 million a day. Doesn't matter. But are you actually outwardly claiming it? And once I started outwardly claiming more and actually showing the audacity that I have behind the scenes, forward facing, ripples started coming to my life. And so that's why I'm going to be doubling down on that even more going forward. For example, I know that I am here for billions, billions with a B. But there was a time, right, a few months ago, I would say probably beginning of 2025, end of 2024, where saying that word, saying that outwardly, I can say it like, I mean, by myself at home. I could like say it to my fiance, like, made for billions. But for me to claim that outwardly to someone, watching me social media or doing this, there was a little twitch. There was a little, So I noticed where that was my edge to expand. Of where, yeah, I could get behind multi-millions. I could get behind a million, 100 million. Like, yeah. Oh, but billion with a B. Ooh, is that me? Oh, can I say that? Can I say we're going to billions? Can I do that? Yes. Right? And I started claiming not only money, but I started claiming the types of people I wanted in my world, the types of clients that I wanted in my world, the type of women that I wanted in my world, and claiming that unapologetically. And so I started getting women who actually wanted what I wanted to provide. Right? I started really claiming that I am not for you if you want to be coddled, if you want to play small, right? If you want someone to just validate you instead of calling you forward. I fiercely love my clients. So I tell them what they need to hear. And they thank me for that. Every woman who's come into my world and are coming in now are literally like, Liv, thank you. Look, I've been praying for someone like you. I've been looking for someone like you. I just had a new one-on-one client yesterday on our call being like, you are calling me forward and I'm sweating and I feel so uncomfortable. But thank God, because this is what I've been looking for and this is what I've needed. That wouldn't happen if I weren't claiming outwardly the people I'm here for and people I'm not here for, right? If I was operating in the middle, right? When it comes to money, are you claiming like $1 million, but you really want 10 or 20? Right? Are you claiming, you want to be an author, but really want to be like a best-selling author? Where are you not claiming the bigness outwardly? And where are you not letting yourself be seen in claiming that? Because that's really what it is. It's like, ooh, can I go to that edge of being seen in what I'm claiming? Now, the next thing I want to get into is I have been operating with holy precision. And this is a term I use in my world, not just precision, but holy precision. And I've been doing this for a few months, and I'm going to continue doing this to the end of the year. And this is why. When people try to collapse time, they tend to go in a very scattered energy. It's like, okay, I'm ready. Let's go. Like, do this, push, go. Because they gives themselves the illusion of productivity, right? It gives you that dopamine hit. It makes you feel like you're doing something. It gives you the illusion of progress, but you're really just a hamster running on a wheel going nowhere. When you operate with holy precision, you make less moves, but they hit deeper, they land quicker, and they ripple. Right? You think about scattering your energy. You're making all these moves. None of them are potent. Right? None of them really land. None of them have as big a result. But when you can operate holy precision, you do a couple things, but they hit, and the gravity and the weight behind them, oomph. Like there's a bigger oomph in the universe, in the matrix, in the simulation when you do it. And I've noticed this time and time again, whether I do this with money, with business, with the podcast, but it doesn't matter what I'm doing. When I notice, and I don't try to do things to generate momentum because I'm trying to get a result, and I'm actually still, and I see I'm still enough, long enough, right? Remember I said, in that stillness, you're going to want to reach and grasp to give yourself the illusion of momentum. But instead, you get precise. You get so precise and so focused that you can literally feel the moment in time you're supposed to make that move or post that thing or book that thing, and the wildest things happen. I cannot tell you how many times it's happened to me over the last few months and how I know it's going to change things going forward. Where can you be more potent and precise? And this is where I see, like I said, a lot of powerful women scattering her energy or thinking more is more. More is not more. It's also where they get tired, where they get burned out, where they're wondering why like the thing isn't here yet. Because when you can operate with precision, you actually need to do less, but you get infinitely more results. Now, the next thing that I'm doing to really collapse time by the end of this year is I'm letting even more of me through. Because there is nothing that the universe, God, source loves more than authenticity and truth, right? The frequency of truth is the most powerful frequency on the planet. So I'm moving to my edge of how can I let all parts of me through even more? Not because I was hiding before, but because there is a new edge that can come through, right? There is a new edge in the silly, goopy side of me. There is a new edge in the very poetic and prophetic version of me. There's a new edge in the sassy version of me. So all those parts are not only getting seen, but they're getting amplified, right? Because when you show all parts of you, that's when time collapses. It's because you are operating in the totality of who you are. But if you are either hiding parts of yourself or just not going to the edge of the different parts of yourself, especially the parts that are uncomfortable, right? The parts that maybe feel a bit more riskier to show or to share, and you're not going to collapse time because you need to break all of you through. And what I see so many people get trapped in is they get very comfortable letting a certain aspect of them out, right? So they're very comfortable letting, I don't know, the fierce aspect of them out, but not maybe the soft and the vulnerable. Or they're very good at letting the soft and the vulnerable out, but they're not so good at letting the fierce out, or the funny, or the goofy, or it doesn't matter. But really think about what aspects of you are you not letting not only fully out, but need a new edge. And how can you amplify that edge and you can bring more of it through? This sounds simple, but I can spot instantly. I did this actually yesterday on a call with a client. I went on her Instagram. I was like, this is boring. This is not you. I could tell she was doing some vanilla, one small fast stiffer that wasn't really fully anchored her truth. I can tell within seconds someone who's in the fullness of who they are and someone who is not, right? Someone who is hiding or putting a mask on or performing. And the thing is, performance is never going to get you there. It has to be authentic and it has to be true, but also you have to move to the edge, right? So even if you're like, everything you're doing right now is authentic and true, which is what was happening to me. Everything was authentic and true. But there was a higher level of that I could step into. And that's what I've been doing and will continue to do the rest of this year. And let me tell you, when that happens, like I said, you can see how everything in this episode is really showing you how to stack it so that it's not more strategy, right? It's not a funnel it had, it's not working more. It's none of that. It's you. It's you, your energy, and your frequency. That's it. It gets to be this simple. And so can you let those parts out to be seen and letting all of them out without needing the validation? So I'm going to add this caveat in it. You need to let all those parts be seen without then checking to see, have they validated me being seen? Did they like that I showed that? Because that's not truth. It's like you are being seen, but you don't need anyone to see you. I have a famous quote in my world, right? The woman who doesn't need to be validated is the one that the world rushes to validate. There's a reason. And you can tell, you can spot when a woman doesn't need to be validated. You can spot when you're like, yep, she's in her power. Like, she knows who she is. She's got it. She's not wavering. Even if you don't resonate with her, you can tell when someone's in their power. This is why it's so important. If you want to collapse time, you can't be looking for validation, right? In order to collapse time, you have to master the frequency of inevitability. You can't be in inevitability if you're still checking for validation or checking for proof or checking to see if the world around you agrees or reality confirmed it. Okay, I showed it. I showed this part. I did the thing. Where's proof? That's not the one collapses time, right? Because that's not inevitability. When you move from inevitability, you move because you move, you create because you create. You're not doing things for a result. You're not initiating to get, you're initiating because you are. Very different energy. And unfortunately, most women get trapped in initiating to get, not initiating because they are, right? Trying to get a result. Catch this in yourself, your whole life will shift. And now the last thing I want to get into when it comes to what I'm even doing to collapse time this year is I am getting uncomfortable, which I've always done. I'm always pushing my edges, doing uncomfortable things mentally, physically, like business-wise, money-wise, like that's all great. But it's how I'm getting uncomfortable. I'm getting uncomfortable not doing things that I know are an edge that other people have done, but I am uncomfortable doing things that nobody else is doing around me or other people have done or other people who are ahead of me or have made more money have done. And this is huge because it's one thing to like see someone doing something who like is where you are and they made this move. So that kind of gives you a little validation to like make the move. It's very different to get uncomfortable and do something when like everyone else is going right and you're like, I'm going to go left, and to move into that. But that's where you create something that hasn't been created before. That's when you collapse time in ways that are unheard of, because not only are you getting uncomfortable, but you're going against the grain. You're not doing things in the way everyone else has been doing them. You're not doing things the way everyone in your industry is doing them. You're not talking about the things that everyone else in your industry is talking about. This is huge. So I want you to think about where you actually need to get uncomfortable and not do things the way that you see everyone else doing them, especially because if you're listening to this, if you're on this podcast, you are a visionary, you are a leader, you are a trailblazer. You're not meant to do things the way everyone else is doing them. But right now you're getting distracted, they'll sidetrack, thinking their framework, their way of being is like your way. And that's preventing you from collapsing kind of as fast as you could. And I've always noticed this. This happened at the beginning of the business. This happened this year. This is happening now. When I am tuned into me and I'm doing things that not only make me uncomfortable, but I'm doing things in a way that is different from everyone else, then time collapses, right? Because when you are operating in that very limited thinking or that cause and effect thinking, then you can't possibly access the magic and miracles that allows time to collapse, because you are in someone else's paradigm. You are in someone else's framework. This is why when women come to me, it's not about learning my way, right, or anything like that, but I plug you back into your power of who you are and remove all of those distortions and things that are keeping you outside of you. Because the path is there, the way is there. You're just probably not trusting it or getting distracted. And or it's not looking like everything else around you, and then you're getting in that I need confirmation, I need validation, etc. So where can you get even more uncomfortable, especially doing things that people around you have not given you proof that, you need to do, right? Everyone's heard the invest in yourself. Great. You know that. Like, you invest in yourself easily. If you know you want to like work with me, you invest in. If you know you want to collapse time, like join Time Collapse, you do that. If you know you want to be a Merchant Regulate CEO, you do that. You're not the person who waits for things outside of you in order to move. Or that cannot be the limit of collapse this time. That's the woman who needs everything around her to be perfect, or for the proof to show up before she moves. That's not the person who moves from inevitability. But I want you to catch yourself in this, because I see this again so often. When someone pays me, then I'll do the thing. When someone validates me, then I can go after that. When someone says I can do it, then I can. And I'm like, this might be like a little rebellious part of me, a little Sagittarius part of me, but I'd always challenge that. I've always been like, I don't need permission from anyone to do anything. I go, I move. I don't need anything outside of me. So I'm not only willing to get uncomfortable, but I'm willing to move before the proof is proved, before the results are there, in a way that doesn't quote unquote make sense to anyone else around me. But then all of a sudden, I do it and I get the result, and people are like, how are you doing that? But it's not supposed to work that way. But Liv, you need all these things. You need all these strategies. You need all this. No, look it out. And you can feel the solidity in my body when I say that. And this is why I've always said every strategy, everything works. Everything works because you say it works. But I am so like psycho tuned in, tapped into that like you couldn't tell me otherwise. There's not a part of me that flinches, that doubts. No, none of it. But you have to have that safety right in your nervous system. You have to have that safety and that power to not only get uncomfortable, but make those moves over and over again. And I'm going to add on one more thing to this. I'm stretching myself and getting uncomfortable every single day. I actually am asking myself, how can I go to the edge every single day and do one thing that pushes me a little bit out of that zone, a little bit out of that comfort? Like, because when things are great, right, it can be easy. It's actually easier to get complacent and comfortable when things are great than when they're not, right? When you don't have like a fire behind you and you're self-resourced. So I'm always going to my edge and always finding and looking, all right, where has this gotten comfortable? Where do I need to like do something different, bring a fresh energy, move this edge, have this conversation, invest here, do something differently. Oh, everyone's doing this, kind of that kind of event. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this. Oh, everyone's having an AI bot, and selling their AI bot. Okay, I'm going to do this. And now that I'm saying this, I guarantee you can see that even doing this. Do you look my Instagram? If you've been in my world, you're going to be like, oh, I can see what Lyd is saying and I can see how she's been doing this. Like, oh. And that's how we create things that are otherworldly. That's how we collapse 7 years into 7 minutes. It's by doing these things. But people think it's like acting as if. You don't act as if. That's performance. You don't get magnetic by acting as if, by like pretending. You are it. Simple as that. But when you are it, you're really getting uncomfortable. You're letting all of these parts be seen. You're claiming it outwardly. And you're definitely not subscribing to the illusion that you see around you. And when you do these things, I cannot wait to see how time collapses for you. We're also going to leave a link for Time Collapse and Rich and Regulated CEO down below. If you have not joined Time Collapse, hey, do you want to be like a human on this planet that like bends reality, money on demand? You join Time Collapse. Because I'm taking you through all these different like little trainings that you're going to be implementing and the wild things that I've been doing behind the scenes way deeper than this episode. It's probably going to be the most potent program I've ever done on actually had class time. It is not for the faint of heart, right? Not everyone is meant to operate at this speed. But if you are like, no, look, I know I'm like a Jedi, ninja, warrior, goddess, empress, queen of the universe. And you're like, I know I'm meant for this. And when I speak, you can feel it in your body. Then you're going to want to join Time Collapse. And I'll see you inside Time Collapse. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Share this episode if you enjoyed it, or even send me a DM saying how much it landed. I love hearing from you. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode.